Hey guys, how's it going? Looks like Leith already found the. Looks like people already found the fact that we got the stuff back on. So, all right. So, what are we doing today? In case anybody's wondering, we are working on Linux. We are working in the lab, and I'm playing games. And this is do all Linux. I'll put this up here too, so people can see. Little merch shop. Okay, but what are we working on? I mean, we got all kinds of stuff moving around. Leith, there's the answer to your question, which was the uptime on the system went from Rocky 1. So Rocky 1 through 5 are the only ones that are up in the current environment. And I'm playing video games, so if anybody wants to hang out, talk shop, ask me questions. I probably could hop down in the Discord too if people wanted. Or we could sit around and talk in there. We sometimes do that. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how stream goes. But what else am I doing today? I am working in the lab. I've got to get our course outlined. So do a little trick here. A little stealing from myself. I'm going to take all this. Throw it in my notepad. I think I might already have one of these. Ah, here we do. Okay, we do have it already. Is that right? Does it have everything on it? Let's make sure. Actually, it doesn't look like this took my changes. Yeah. I think, that's weird. This is not taking any of my changes. Well, on the plus side, we can add these back in. Keep the same formatting if we can. With our paste, I guess we're only going to get that one option. All right, grab the format, throw it over the top. Should fix it. Oh, fucking wonderful. Let's redo the that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind cleaning them up. Quartz one. I was in the XL charcoal gray hoodie. Nice. Yeah, I didn't realize I didn't realize some of that stuff was out. I mean, I guess I kind of saw that some of it was, and I know it's getting cool again, so people are probably going to want some of the hoodie action. Does this look right? I swear I had more in here. I think some of this. Oh, excuse me. I think some of this got wiped, but that looks fine. All right, play some games here while we're waiting on this other stuff. Why is that not? That's weird. It's like the game doesn't fit in its own window. Minus a bunch of hit points to start with money. I'll do it. Do it. Just do this for now. Good enough start. For anybody that's hanging out, we are working on some Linux, but we're also just kind of hanging out. Not working too hard today. Okay, I don't like this very squished down version of the game here. All right. Lancer up here. Put this guy back. Let's get an egg out. Throw the egg away. That gives us a dragon. It's not terrible. Get those guys up there, and then we'll do our fight here. Also, we do have Linux answers for people if they want to do answers. That will send stuff into our Linux servers. Yeah, I gotta do this part next. All right, what we got here. These are all just awful. Like none of this is any good at all. All this stuff's terrible. But whatever, we'll use it. Do what we can. It's all just awful. See if we can't beat one elite monster. So the succubus is pretty good. Only problem is that she slowly drains out the people in front of her. That's not terrible though. It's all garbage. Alright. Apparently when you change the size of this, it doesn't do very good on the resolution. We'll send it full screen for a little bit. And then it doesn't fix it. I'll take it. More gold. Unlock random tiles. Fine with me. All terrible. Oh. Sure. Put some archers back here. More zombies up. Actually, we have enough room to, we do this a little bit different. Archers down. We don't have quite enough to move them back. No, we're gonna chuck these guys. That's pretty good. Lancers, we just won't use them anymore. Zombies get more armor for being next to other zombies. And then that helps because she's stealing armor from people to pump up her attack. So, of course, you're going to lurk. Complete a VPN project in GP. Oh, nice. Yeah, you guys are always welcome to lurk. We're not working too hard tonight. I wasn't trying to do just a normal gaming. I still intend to do all those other things. I just wanted to get some... I was going to play this off to the side. Alright. Get some more zombies going. These are all terrible. Well, guess that's what we get for now. We'll go fight an elite monster, it's fine. Worst thing they can do is just beat us really bad. Alright. Move these guys down. Get another scrapper. Update the zombies. Close to getting those ones up. We're going to try to see if we can get this dryad to fit. Actually, we can fit right here for now. That's fine. That'll be good. Put that on this guy. And then get our scrapper up some more, get our archers up some more. Get these zombies to level. So now zombies are getting a lot of armor from each other. That's good. Keep going. Yeah, we burned them down. That's good. Take a rare troop. Alright, so we can level up our succubus. Well, she didn't level, but she got better. Nothing good there. And we will save this because we want those miners. Let's see how we do. What are the 3 assignments for? KB Fast Cat, you said what are the 3 assignments for? Are you talking about these ones? Oh, you're asking Quartz 1. Yeah, maybe if Quartz can hear, he could tell you. I do need to, I'm going to keep cleaning this up while we're playing, so. What I need to do is, deal with, I gotta turn these, excuse me, into the units. So, gotta give enough kind of hands-on. I need to get enough I guess functional stuff. kind of want to look at my other ones, but I'm pretty sure the topics for these, they don't directly mirror the major instructional areas, but they're closer to those, and they're kind of in line with what the course objectives are. So I got to look at how I want to do that. Also, I got to plan something for the networking configurations, because I need a tool that behaves like a network device for them to be able to configure people that want to take the course. The course is kind of soft set for people. The course is soft set for starting at the same time as the security engineering course. So it would look like September 20th. It'll be let's say tentative start. Hey Fisherman, yeah, I'm gaming mostly. I'm just kind of hanging out. September 20th is the tentative start for that. Yeah, have you seen this new game, Fisherman? It's called Nightica. It's pretty good. We're gonna make that 5 p.m. my time. Weekly on Saturday. Noobs must die. Nice. 16-week auto course for Linux administration and engineering. Focus on Ansible for sure, Bash, Python. Bash and Python, yeah, that'll be fine. There we go. All right, so that event's up now. And I'm saying tentative start for the 16-week course will be there. The security engineering course is already done for people that haven't been here. It's similar. All right. Anyways, let's get this going. Hold on. So where are we? I need to get this miner out, but I have to have enough room for him, and I have to have enough gold. So I should be able to get him right there. That's fine. But we're going to play it this way, because when he doesn't have anybody... Oh, shoot. Let's see. Let's see if we can figure out a way to fit him. Because if he doesn't have anybody adjacent to him, then he gives you more gold. So... that's not going to help. Oh. Because nothing I can do will move that from being adjacent, unfortunately. And we can't move her because she's stealing from these guys for more damage. We could turn them, move her back. Nope. No way to do that easily without possibly affecting something else. So let's put a cultist out. Cultists are great, and we'll lock this so we still get the dryad after, and we can get a miner again still. So that's good. No, Fisherman, this is just an auto battler. More like Mechabellum in the big scheme of things. That was a pretty easy win. So, level up our dryads. She's giving everybody in the front +3 armor now, so just pumping them up. And we'll hold on to this so we can get a miner next round. Miners will just generate money for us. I've seen RimWorld Fisherman. It looks okay. Yeah. If RimWorld's the one I'm thinking of, it reminded me of like the old XCOM games. Alright, we're at the first boss. Boss is doing BS. What can we do here? We can. It doesn't actually matter where the cultist is or where the dryad is, but you know, we'll leave her where she is for now. We just can't get... I'll throw a spirit up there. These things just die and then pump you up later. Yeah, I guess we'll hold on to everything. It's not really a great... Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Alright. Let's give this sage to... Doesn't really matter. We don't have anybody out there that's super tanky. These guys both already have... they can't get another enchant on them. So I guess we'll give the sage to her, even though she's not really that type. I mean, you don't want her getting hit. She's a DPSer. How's it going, MRX? We're just hanging out. Oh, security headers, yeah. Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah, we're gonna burn this. I think we're gonna burn this one down pretty easy here. Maybe. See if she gets another jump in or not. She jumps every so often. It's not based on damage. It's not like every quarter of a life or anything. No, we got our 2 jumps or 3 jumps. It's not bad. All right. So we'll get more troops, so we're going to go with this. So we get more troops, but then we can only reroll 3 times though. But I'm okay with that. To get more troops. Our archers up. Oh no, that's crap. Let's unlock this for when we do get our miners again. Get some miners. Nope. Alright, let's lock them because we do want those other guys. Alright. We're in World 2 now, so let's see how we do. Yeah, we're doing alright. Good front line. Absorbing all the damage. Need more zombies. Need more archers. We'll hold on to all this. We need it. Put a spirit out. Alright. Alright. Get a second cultist out so we get more hit points back. More archers. Get some miners up here so we start generating some gold. And then we'll hold on to this so we get an egg. Eggs give us dragons and then another dryad. Do we win this one? It's gonna be close. Yeah, I think we got it. Go get some spells. Do that just for money? Sure. And pump them up. Get another dragon. Sapphire. Just level him up. And we will re-roll the shop with a bunch of rare troops. Which we want all of them. So pump up our miner. So now he's going to give us 3 gold every turn. That's nice. And then we'll hold on to these guys because we'll try to fit more of these guys in on the next roll. And yeah, we don't want that. So one of the nice things is when you're in the shop, it still counts like a the shop ends up kind of still counting like a battle, so you get all your buffs and stuff. Like all your buffs that stay with you, you keep them. That's actually kind of a nice little thing. All right, let's see if we can fit another cultist in here. Let's get rid of this guy. And when you sell him, he gives buffs to everybody else. Let's take another cultist, and then we'll up our miner. And I wish we could use any of these, but we really can't right now. So we'll just roll out of them. And go ahead and try to start leveling up one of our cultists for now. And I think we're going to try to work a shaman into this. So let's save this because we might be able to fit a shaman. And then he can buff these guys up, and then the cultists can really do a lot of damage. So we'll see how that goes. For anybody that's wondering, I am doing technology. We're just playing video games too. I've got all that stuff right behind this window. So we'll get back to it here in a little bit. All right. We're just working in between stuff. Where is... So the shaman's 8. If we were to try to put him down, we would need to knock out at least these 2. So we're not going to be able to afford him. But we know that. We knew that. But we can start getting ready to move some of this around to be able to fit him. And yeah, let's just see how the fight goes. We should be able to walk these guys pretty easy for now. Although they are going to start scaling out of control here soon. So I do need to do something. So the shaman's a 3x3, so he's going to take a lot of space here. We could probably get these 2. Move these guys down. Move the shaman right here. So now he's going to pump them up every time. So he'll pump up the 1, but he'll do the other 2 that have the same name as well. So that's kind of a nice little buff there. And And nothing else really of any value here. Alright, let's see how it goes. This guy's just murked my dude. That was pretty funny. Haunted Temple. Let's see what this is. Every fifth roll, the shop is all spells. Otherwise, spells do not appear. Okay. I guess. Meteor. Throws a meteor every 4 seconds based on your damage. So you want somebody that has high damage. So we'll take one of these guys. And we're going to roll that out. Yeah, let's see how many people survive the fight. Give him some move speed and evasion, sure. And can't use any of those yet. So let's just hold on to that. We can use a voucher and then rarity boost. Ah, look at all that. So, get a Chaos Lord. He sacrifices troops. I don't really like doing that, sacrificing them. So, he is pretty good though, but I think we could do this build a little different. We can... see. He's a 3x3 troop and we want him up front if we can. So, to be able to get him up there, we either have to get rid of one of these, which is not great. The reason it's not great is because they're buffing each other back and forth. So, you know, if we got rid of one, we might as well get rid of all of them. Oh man, I don't want to do that. Just use that. Still take that. This guy just randomly kills people, which I think is hilarious, but not great because we don't have a good build for that. Alright, let's roll it out. Take the archers. God, we're getting nothing, man. Probably not going to beat this next boss. And we'll call it for a while and do some actual work. Do some Ansible stuff. Apparently we're going to get a lot of money though. Scrappers. I think it popped all the way up. Oh, I see. I did not realize that they got so much extra there. Okay. Oh, also you can see your damage, like who's doing your most damage. That's where most of our damage is coming. Here's who's taking most of the damage right there. So we do have a pretty good handle on kind of seeing what's going on. All right. So we do want, if we can, to get this Necromancer out on the board, because what he does is he calls the basically the death effects, and these guys have death effects. So when they die, they just get extra stats. But he'll just cause them to do it. He'll cause them to just get their death effects, which then is the reason that's so nice is I'll get them off the board. They will just keep getting stronger and stronger, basically as fast as they can. So I'm fine with that. 4 gold. It's even better. We're gonna lock it because we want to get that egg. Get more dragons on the board. See how that goes. Oh, this might not be a good one for us. And we'll see. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this one. I mean, we did a lot of damage, but I don't think it's unlikely. Maybe. That was that close. Too close. Too close. All right. Get more zombies out there. Again, they keep doing their on death thing every time, so that's awesome. And we can get a ruby dragon. Gets stronger every gold that we make. We would probably have to put them. Yeah, I don't know. Just roll it out. More necromancers. Ah, we can get a princess. So the princess increases the experience of your guys in lines, straight lines. But while she is good, we don't really have room for her, so we're gonna skip her for now. And then now we get these. So let's see what we got. Inheritance on death. We want somebody to have this because that guy he'll keep triggering their on death, giving us more and more gold. And sniper gives longer attack range, so we really want sniper for anybody that can shoot really far. Yeah, that's nice. At the start of each battle, they're gonna even hit harder, so that's good. And do need hit points, so we're gonna and we'll get another inheritance. Alright, good. We're gonna save that for the next round to help us get ready for the boss too. But this guy should be able to throw across the screen now with his sniper. Yeah, he doesn't even have to move anymore. He's just chucking across the screen, which I love. That's probably the best, although yeah, there's no way we're gonna get wiped by the boss. He's like an endurance fight, and we don't have the endurance type troops set up. He's like fighting Cthulhu. If any of you guys remember fighting Cthulhu. That's an old reference. I don't expect anybody to get that one. Alright. Get our zombies up. And excuse me, we'll bargain so we get more hit points, but again, I don't see us going all the way. Sure, he's just gonna make bombs now. It doesn't really do much. Get another zombie out. I think I sold out of my archers. Yep. Another zombie out. But again, this is just not the kind of fight that you. I mean, we're way too low. Because he has 4 phases you got to fight him through. We might get him past phase 1 right here, but we're not. Yeah. He's going to switch this other phase, and he's just going to shoot these stupid lasers and kill everything. Till about 50% health, and then he'll switch back to the other one and have 3 of those original tentacles. But again, yeah, you're not. I mean, we got him to phase 3, which is more than I expected, but yeah, we're done. He's going to just kind of wipe us. Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. But that's gaming. Alright, we'll get back to that here in a little bit, maybe. But, what are we working on? So, we've got the home lab here. We've got this stuff going. Let me pull up our notes, and let's pull up our book that we're working on. So, this will be... First one will always be tools and getting automation tools. Make sure everybody can do all the tools, right? You got to be able to do all the things first. And then the next one will be, yeah, I want people to be able to deploy various automation tools that are out there for the different types of activities. And then we're going to say the next one will be interacting with the operating system. So you're going to interact with the operating system that you're on, whatever that operating system looks like. Oh, Doc over on YouTube, how's it going? We're not working super hard, and the temperature today was 106 right now. That's Fahrenheit, guys. Fire Hazard, you fought Cthulhu? Yeah, we fought Cthulhu. He almost made our guild go down. Actually, the annoying thing about Cthulhu was we beat the Twin Emps, and then we went to Cthulhu, and then we couldn't beat the Twin Emps for like 2 months because people were just... The level of stupidity you needed to wipe in the Twin Emps room. I mean, like, if they just could beat you, that was one thing. That was something that could happen. But if you got wiped because of stupid things, that there was... Like, people tab targeting to, like, yellow bugs that aren't attacking you and just getting the raid wiped. It was absolutely stupid. But no, when we worked on Cthulhu, it took us probably a month or so to beat him because people just couldn't. Oh man, that fight, that was like the worst 40-man fight because there were worse 40-man fights, but my guild didn't get to them. We only did about 6 out of the, I think there were 16 bosses or 18 bosses in Naxxramas. We only did like 6 of the bosses, I think, to finish, and then I quit playing after that. So that was like 08 maybe, a long time ago. Oh man, Fire, and I was playing. I remember getting up there and Cthulhu was like wiping and like resetting servers and stuff. But yeah, it was just the things that were happening with the people that were. You know, you have 40 people in a raid, and like 3 people don't give a shit, and they're just gonna fucking make all the rest of you, like, the rest of you might as well not even be there. Like, it's just bad. It's bad time. But anyways, where are we at here? Interacting with the operating system. Let's say next one here could be. These are kind of like titles, but they're also like topics that are gonna like build on like what I'm doing. Or what I'm focusing on for each of those weeks. Let's say importance of inventories. Let's say making that's going to be more than just like an Ansible inventory. That's going to be systems. And yeah, we might have to put, yeah, let's go with this for now. And then directories. That's the way we say it, but I don't know that that's not really a word, one-offs. But like, what's a one-off? One-off is like something that you do that's not within the normal system config. And then you got to work it into your run books, and then you got to work it back into your build books. Those kind of things. Let's go with what do I want to do next? Let's do automating Docker builds, automating Docker environments. This may move. These may move. And automating Kubernetes environments. Like, how do we automate those and deploy them and pull them down and deploy them and pull them down? That kind of stuff. How was that? How might that look? Because there's a few different ways to do that. We might do patching systems. Before we patch systems, we need to build. So let's say build systems. Yeah, we'll edit this later. Update and patch systems. And then we'll do some around my notes over here. Probably we're gonna want API calls, but that's probably gonna happen in one of those other earlier things. That's fine. We got deploys. Say build and deploy systems, because those are two different concepts. Say configure the network. Say drift. Reporting on drift. And then, yeah, that's a good start. Let's do, we might have to move all of these down one. This will be environment. Where did I find that environment? In Ansible, we call them local variables, but let's say environment variables, and let's do that. I know I gotta change everything, but 11, 12, 14, 15, 16. We can delete the bottom one. I just realized I don't have any music going right now. Normally when I'm streaming, I at least have some kind of music, but I didn't have any because I was playing the game. Interacting with the operating system, making using inventories, admin commands and one-offs, environment and local variables and systems, automating Docker builds, automating Docker environments. Those are different. I probably should have a section that's not individually called out, but maybe we start integrating all of the GitHub stuff into this. That might be good. Configuration, meeting and reporting on drift, which is kind of overlaps with some of the security engineering stuff that we did. What else? Let's add one here. Yeah, maybe it'll be part of Docker builds. I was going to say hardening systems, but that can kind of be built into build and deploy. Yeah, I guess that would be kind of build and deploy. That's going to be hardening systems as we go. That's fine. Figure network meeting and reporting on drift. What other things might we want? I think when I originally talked about this, we were going to do and people wanted that, so we would have some troubleshooting. Like, you go to a system and it's busted in some way, you have to understand where it broke and where things were different, what those types of troubleshooting kind of look like. Can I use Linux to fix the flashing? Well, you can use Linux to get money, and then money will help you fix that flashing. So that's I guess a roundabout way, kind of like Homer, and Homer wanted a donut, but then he got $20 instead, and his brain goes, wait a minute, we can use that to get many donuts. And he goes, explain. And he's like, money can be exchanged for goods and services. And Homer's like, we could do, I can't make these just like case studies or something like that, because we're going to be doing projects throughout. So there's going to be labs throughout all of this. So I can't really do that. What I can do is I think some of the API stuff would be useful earlier, but we can do automation up there. We can't really do cloud stuff. The reason I'm staying away from cloud stuff, by the way, too, is while there's all kinds of good useful automations up into the cloud, the reason I can't do that is because not everybody's going to have an API key. Not everybody's going to spend the time to do that. Not everybody wants to put in a credit card or do any of that stuff. And I get that, right? Because there's all the horror stories of owing $50,000 and that kind of crap. But since I can't do that, I can't focus on builds out there. We have to pretend to build either in the home lab environment or out in Killer Coda. We do have pre-baking and personalization, which is part of system builds. We'll call that Linux systems. And man, I might be moving some of these around. Let's go look at something. One of the guys captured. What did they capture here? Oh, he didn't put in the. I haven't updated the new one yet, so it's not there yet. Say same with Brocade. Yeah, we do have some facilities for that. My problem, here's the thing: I could make people build stuff in Werewolf. We could do all that, albeit that's a little slow. One of the problems of that is that like giving people access like that, that's not that big of a deal, especially since there probably won't be that many people in the automation course. People think they're going to come, but once they see how much work I make them do, they quit. That's that's been the average, anyways. Well over the average, in fact, probably on the order of about 95%. We have very low finish rate on these, and that is what it is. But maybe lower than 5% average right now. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm trying to make the courses good. Camrick said you kind of knew the stream. What is Werewolf? So Werewolf is a tool. I actually have a presentation back here on Werewolf that I did earlier with the guys, what it is and how it works and stuff, and how it fits all into high-performance computing environments and stuff. We're not going to do that right now, but I can tell you at a high level what Werewolf does is this. In my home lab, let's say. Here's my little home lab, right? What Werewolf's doing is kind of keeping track of everything that's going on. And it's functioning as a controller for the whole environment. It does DHCP, TFTP, iPXE booting off of it, but that's over TFTP, so you don't really have to say that twice. NFS and all these other things. And what he does is he creates these nodes, right? And these images are baked or built into him, and these are container images here. And then let's go like Rocky 4. And then there's these configurations of the system. So when the systems boot, they pull all of their configuration, all their personalization down from Werewolf. So all the nodes in my environment, all 15 of them right now, we had 45 of them when we were doing the course last time. They are running everything as they're stateless nodes that come up and just assume whatever they get from Werewolf. So if I were to just watch this node, let's say Rocky 5. Right? There's Rocky 5. If we were to go watch him right now, where is his console? So we go to Rocky 5 at the console. He's sitting there, right? Right? You can say hi stream to wall, right? We're on this node. And we're just going to kick him over. I don't know what my hands were doing. And over here, we're going to watch him boot at the console, right? So this is a XCP-NG server, and it's sitting there. And he's going to go down, and he's going to come up. He's going to pull everything over DHCP. Well, he's going to DHCP to find his identity, iPXE boot over the network. And he's going to come up as this Rocky server again with no differences. He pulls down a container image. He gets some system overlays and some runtime overlays. And all these things kind of move together to build all this stuff up. How's it going, Sending Grounds? Yeah, we're just hanging out. I was playing video games a little bit here. If you guys are watching, he's doing a DHCP. He doesn't know who he is. He finds the one DHCP server responding, and that server goes, hey, by the way, you're Rocky 5. And there's all his information. There's the stuff. He's going to pull down a kernel image, and then he's going to get an init RAM FS, and then he's going to do what's called a Dracut boot, and he's going to pull his other part of the init RAM FS, and he's going to start up. So Dracut is a two-stage boot. So watch, he's going to boot. Watch, there's his downloading his init RAM FS from Dracut. And then the kernel will be able to switch over. When the kernel does its switch route, we could put them on real disks. We could use the real disks that are there and make the server like a little 15 gig static box and then only reprovision them when we wanted to. But we're not doing that. Yeah, it's just stateless. It's a stateless system. Yep. Yep. However, Werewolf's a little different because so when I do them professionally, with big government systems, it's always physical boxes, right? We're talking big HPC type systems. But in my home lab, it is just my own little, it's a bunch of little systems, and then we're just going to pull them back to the stateless node from the container image. Now, the container image can be reset as many times as you want. In fact, I might do, I wonder if we'd have just enough for automating Docker builds. I wonder if we did the werewolf stuff, we could do, build and deploy will kind of do it. But we probably want to add another one right here. And this will be different than build and deploy. And this will be 10. This will be harden Linux systems. And then drift. So harden Linux systems. We also want to report out in an automated fashion, which is nice. But now all these have to move down as well. Let's just get rid of this one. So, by the way, I do have oh no, I do have a requirement from the guys. So I do have a not a requirement, but I have a what we call a deadline, because the guys are working on this stuff tomorrow. The guys that write the book for me. So people in the Discord, they volunteer to work on the books, because we have free books for everybody in the Professional Linux users group. There's a bunch of them. There's 2 of them now that are free, and we're generating more as we go. They look like this, right? They've got all the class schedule stuff over here on the side. You could print them out if you guys wanted to keep a PDF copy of them, but they're pretty good little books. There's a Linux admin one, a security engineering one, and then we're building out the automation one, right? Hold on. I think that might be configure the network. Configure network. Devices. And I might do one called, let's move this one down, because this will be at the end of everything. This will be, shoot, I can't do that. Oh, I didn't finish watching that box boot. There's Rocky 5, he's back up working. You know. See a weird command line for most people. If you're used to looking at a system command line, that's kind of weird right there, because it just says how he provisioned and how he got his init RAM-FS, which is still useful to see. Like, you can see where he was provisioned from and how he was provisioned, which is somewhat useful. Maybe not the most useful, but... And actually, yeah. So he pulls all his info and he gets everything that he needs and does everything. So yeah, he builds that way every time. And then we can very quickly provision him and switch him over. We can make him into one of the automation boxes if we need to. And then what we do in the environment for people that are kind of newer is people can get access to that. So access to that comes in this way right here. We have a server that sits out there in the world. And he is able to be connected to from prolog at prolog.asus.com, asuscom.com, right? You hit him and you drop into jump02. And you get immediately jailed into what we call a bastion. And the bastion then jails you, throws you into one of the admin security or automation boxes, and then you hit one of the lab capacity servers. Now the lab capacity servers, if you wanted to see that, let's bang cat. And here's what's being used now or not being used now. You see Rocky 5 is not there because we just rebooted him. So he's not going to show up there for another minute or two. But these are all the servers that people can get into right now in that environment. Although you'll only ever be presented with the first one, and you'll just get dropped in. So you make a selection of the admin, the security engineering, or the automation course, then you get dropped into one of these in the bash. So there's two ways. So there's two things that you can do with the MAC address. That's a good question. So there's two things you can do with the MAC. You can either let's do it this way: vi etc werewolf werewolf. Let's do nodes.conf. There's two ways. One is right here so this is all the definition of the default node profiles up here, and then down here we get into the actual node profile. So this is everything that between this and the defaults up there that I would see if I were to do a like node list -a. But what happens right here is there's a hardware address that's set for each of these nodes. But you asked, did it get pre-staged, which would be this, or was it the alternative where it can pull like from some kind of DNS setting? Well, no. Actually, what we can do is we can take this node and I can set this node to be in what's called a discoverable node. So if I didn't care, like if I didn't have names of these boxes, let's say that I just called all of these. I don't. By the way, what I'm going to show you guys is not the way I've ever done it professionally. I'm just going to show you a capability that exists. If I just called these all like node 1 through node 15, because right there on two different physical boxes, auto, hammer, and whatever, and I just called them node 1 through 15, and I didn't care which one was Rocky 1 and which one was auto 1 and whatever, I could set these to not have a hardware here, and it would just be discoverable, and it would grab whatever image was next as each node came up, and it would build these as it went. And then I could set that to always be discoverable like that. Basically, like these 15 nodes can pop up like popcorn, and they will always be a different box, and we wouldn't care. The reason we don't do that in the professional world is we have like hardware, like, I mean, we're talking boxes that are like, a couple $100K each, like $1,000. So I want a node set to that specific one. So if, my Hammer 2 out in the wild, which they would never be called Hammer 2, but they would be called their job function typically, and then a number. They would, let's say like login node 2. I always want login node 2 to be the same exact piece of hardware, because if he ever experiences problems or users can't get in, or they're sluggish, or there's bad RAM or something, I don't want that to be just some random node out in the environment. I want all my nodes to be like hard coded. So in the I guess in the real world, right? Like as we're building like big, I build servers. Probably the biggest cluster I've worked on recently was probably 151 racks. It's 151 racks in the data center. That's a lot of equipment. And when we do that, we feed in the hardware addresses. So we have all the MACs that are going to come up on the provision network, and we feed those in, and we essentially hard code each one. But you only have to do that once, which is nice. Plus you can automate it, which is also nice, because look, this is just some YAML. It's not hard to code out some YAML to generate from a list. And the only thing that really matters here is the name, this, and the image you want. And then we could flip the images later if we wanted to. Or so actually that's part of the talk here, is there's two ways to communicate with Werewolf. You can use its language and do things imperatively at the command line when you're just setting stuff up like individually, or you can actually you can directly configure the YAML configs, which is much more preferable, because then I can store them and I can redeploy them, and I can change them and redeploy them, and do that in like an automated fashion, right? Like I can build tooling around this. I can't. This would be dirty. Like my tooling here would be like a for loop that looped over shit and kept doing commands at the command line. This would get real dirty, right? So this is the way we would do this kind of professionally. In my home lab, you guys will see me do the worst stuff ever, and then I'll very much tell you guys don't do what I do. Like very quickly, I'll be like, don't do any of the stuff that I do. But my lab works, so that's how people get in. That's how they get access. That kind of stuff. I tell you guys all the time. Like, I mean, the professional part of the professional Linux users group is all the other guys. I'm just the guy that kind of tries to get people in there and do stuff. So yeah. So in the home lab, right? In the home lab, we have, so what we did before was I used to just have, there were 19 Rocky servers and there were 25 Hammer servers. So we just had like 44 nodes out there. And what I did was I streamlined the labs now, and now you basically just go into whatever the next node is. But when you're in one of those nodes, you have no persistence, right? If you go in one of these and then you log out, you don't even know that you're going to the same node. Oh, and also we have cool MOTDs on there, right? That's Doom. But then when you look, you have some persistence because you do have the Werewolf Labs and Opt and Home and all these things where you can go drop your lab work. Oops. Let's see how much people are using it here, 11 gigs. So yeah, so lab work, and then people, I think, yeah, Zorg was putting stuff in there. He's one of the guys that's been with, I think he's done the 2 courses so far. And then he's got stuff in there that he was working on, but he just has stuff that's, more persistent for him. Some of this other stuff is there for the individual labs, so people can pull them and do them on their individual nodes and stuff. But yeah, Werewolf works pretty well for it. It's this. Here's what it is. Here, it's kind of in high performance compute. We tend to use this thing from NIST called the 800-223, which is the supercomputing definition, right? It's like their high performance compute, and it's their HPC system reference model. And Werewolf really kind of sits over here as provisioning server and kind of cluster services, because it does inventory management, it does all these other things in the environment, so that these compute nodes can just be ephemeral little nodes. What I mean by ephemeral is like if I had 100 of them and I kicked over like 7 of them, they would just come back. And the term self-healing doesn't completely apply, but it's more like you didn't notice they were down because you couldn't get into them through the bastion until the bastion saw that they were ready again. So there's kind of like, I'm kind of playing with we're playing with high availability, let's say, over here. Where's he at? Yeah, this is kind of like, and if you saw this is like the dirtiest thing ever. This gets generated by Ansible that just goes and checks them all, and then it generates them, that kind of stuff. So there's that. Drifting Circus said, "Where's the Linux desktop? Do I need one? I guess." And then I want you to think really carefully about how you answer that, because it could affect the rest of our interactions that are going to be very short, probably, I imagine. But I want you to think about that before you answer my question. And if you don't answer the question, that's also going to be the end of our interactions as well. So, all right. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. There we go. All right. Go fuck yourself. That's so guys, if you don't know, I don't really deal with people who just want to be assholes. I don't deal with them. If you want to go learn Linux from somebody else, go do it. I have better shit to do with my time than fuck around with everybody on the internet that's smarter than me. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's plenty of people smarter than me, but there's not that many people that build stuff like I do. So, I mean, what do I know, right? But we'll deal with those people as they come. But back to this. I got to focus on this. So I can't be dealing with every asshole on the internet. Build and deploy, configure your network. What do we want to do next? So I need to. So in the environment, I have to. Let me do this. We've been doing maintenance. Man, people always get me riled up because that's all they got. But let's go over here, and I got a backlog here, and we got to build out the automation targets for automation course. And we got to name them, give them images, ensure that auto servers are keyed to them. So we can give them either their own image or have authorized keys that are pushed in there from another system. So these are no money talk. I don't care if people talk money. I just don't like when people come in and their first question's just some asshole sideways. If you were coming at somebody sideways in the street like that, or if you went to a gym or something like that, you'd probably get the taste smacked out of your mouth. But people think they can do that on the internet, and it's I don't want to get mad. I don't want to get tilted, as they say, right? I just want to fucking sit here and do Linux and hang out, and I get people just popping in It's like go be smarter than everybody else somewhere else. I mean, I'll concede you're the smartest person on the internet, but you know, like I don't need to deal with that shit. Like I have college students, I have my own kid, I have like plenty of other shit that I can deal with if I wanna get attitude from people. I don't need that when I'm hanging out and actually working on stuff. So, anyway, so yeah, no, I don't care about money talk though. But let's see. Where are we at here? Configure network devices. We kind of already have the configure. Where did my remediation drift? Yeah. So that's already kind of checking everything out, right? That's kind of there, right? We already got that. So I need to think. I just need another topic. I need another topic for this. Like another thing that I want to. I don't want a whole week on it. Let's pull this one back here. Let's go. Hold on. CI/CD pipelines, and let's go with CI/CD pipelines and so this is one that you might think should go earlier, but the reason I'm moving it at the end, because I actually thought to do this at the beginning too. I'm going to do it at the end instead, though, is this. So CI/CD pipelines will be kind of its own thing, which is kind of applying those. And then make versus build versus adopt decisions are, you know, when you go to do something, right? When you go to build anything or work on anything, you think, do I want to like, oh, why did I say make versus build? Sorry. Make versus buy, right? Do I make this from scratch? Do I go buy a solution that's already out there? And one that I actually only heard about this one recently, even though I've been using it forever. I had never heard this as part of the decision. The decision is adopt. And I really thought that this was interesting because, guys, what happened with adopt is you adopt some open source projects. You didn't buy it. You just adopted some technology. But those things can be abandoned. Those things don't have support models to them most of the time. In fact, when I do make versus buy decisions for the government, I never have an adopt because you can't have anything for the government that's not backed by somebody. You have to be somebody has to be supporting it in like a pay model. You can't just be like, we'll go throw AWX on this system, and AWX is the open source. Some of this other stuff you can't do that. It doesn't work like that. So,
oops, wrong button.
Root guy, how's it going? Thanks for the Prime. You getting in here? People are asking me ridiculous questions about why a guy who does this stuff professionally forever isn't running Linux on his desktop. I can't do it. It's like, oh my god. What can you do? And I don't even like talking trash about Linux desktops. It's just they're fantastically bad, right? Like, I mean, and you say, well, what do you mean by that? Like, you mean like your own home one? No, I'm talking like, can you support them in the enterprise? I mean, is anybody like, guys? I used to work with like hundreds of Red Hat, like the actual engineers from Red Hat, and like those guys were running Fedora on their laptops, but they're like supported desktops from work were. I'm pretty sure they weren't all Fedora. But anyways, we'll worry about that later. Unit on remediation configuration drift. Is that a process that runs through everything, triggers Ansible to push, or is it a manual thing? It depends. So we do that. It depends, right? Do you want to? So where's that remediation? The problem with remediating things automatically, and we got into this in the security course. Let me show you guys this from the security course because it'll make sense in the context of What was it, PSC? I'll do the security course, but I want to show this in context of this. We had one of these was on configuration drift and remediation, and when we got into the lab, right? We got into the lab portion of it, which is right here, and we did some stuff, and I was showing that, you got tools like AID. This was more like security engineering from like a tracking it standpoint, whereas the next one will be more automation. Although at the end of this one, we did do Ansible. And that's what I wanted to show you guys is one of the dev teams figured out that they could modify test and QA environments because a previous engineer left them in the sudoers file. This kind of stuff happens, right? So then, so you can address that separately with the security team on your own time, right? But for now, you need to get those environments back and working. And I am not a big fan of letting stuff automatically happen like that. And the reason I'm not is not that the technology is not there. It's just, if you automate that, then you might not catch it. Like if something just flips something back, somebody changes it and then like a few minutes later it just flips back in that environment. One, that's probably not that big of a deal, and they'll probably get tired of playing that game. But you might not ever find that they still had those permissions, right? Whereas I think if this happened, then somebody's going to eventually complain that the environment's not right, and then you're going to have to go manually intervene and take away those permissions, right? Because there's a different thing that you have to talk about here. Like, somebody has too much power in an environment. And the way that I get rid of this, so this is just me as a guy who ran platform engineering for a long time for, thousands and thousands of nodes. The way I did this was I would just age out their permissions. So like, let's say they had these permissions in test and QA, I would just make sure they weren't in my new pipeline builds, and then we would just age those boxes off over time, and then they wouldn't have those permissions anymore. I didn't have to fight with anybody. I didn't have to argue with anybody. If they came to me and said, hey, we lost these permissions, I'd be like, yeah, we're going to have to get a meeting together for that because, the pipeline's been approved by my manager and your manager. Like this is the way that I would fight. I just wouldn't even fight anymore. Like I got tired of arguing with these guys about this kind of stuff. So anyway, but no, to answer that question is I don't let the automation pull its own trigger. No. And that's, I've also seen, because I've seen that happen fantastically bad, where people fix stuff and then they're like, well, we'll just let the Ansible just come through and go back to the drift. If that's how you're going to configure drift, because admins and people that have, you might as well just take root from everybody if you're going to do that, because people are making changes for valid reasons and tracking them in the CMDB, but then you're just coming over back and it's like avalanching over the top of them and making them all like, just like a clear snowy field all over again. And that's, changes have to happen in an environment. So configuration drift is very important to track and very important to be able to recover from, but I've not seen it well done where people can just automate it and really do that. I've seen too many problems with that. So I don't know, hopefully that answers that question a little bit. So current job don't even have a Linux jump host that drives you crazy. Yeah, Jones, yeah. So I do everything for, people that don't know me. I do literally all day. I work at this terminal like this. This one, I have another laptop over here that I do my other systems on. But yeah, I as long as I can hop into a Linux box of some type, I can do whatever I want. Doesn't matter. I can do it on my phone. Not that I'd like to type on my phone, but I'm just saying it's like it doesn't matter. Like once a terminal is a terminal to me. It doesn't matter how I get there. Everything else is productivity and work and the people that hired me and all that good stuff, right? So anyways. Fire Hazard. Sorry, I missed that, man. You probably posted that like an hour ago, but played both times as Dread. Yeah, man, I just couldn't stick with World of War. I played so much World of Warcraft from like 04, 05-ish to like 08. It was bad. Put on like 80 pounds playing that game. It was terrible. I was pretty athletic before World of Warcraft. But yeah. Anyways, that was the thing that was said long ago on YouTube. I just got around to looking at it now. Net engineering just putting other secure CRT with no jump hosts quite put. Yeah, Jones. The thing about a jump host, this is what I tell people about a jump host, is this right here. That's the best thing about a jump host. And you go, what did you just do? I just disconnected, left the office, right? Went back home, reopened up PuTTY, right? Reopened up my laptop, hop up onto Jumpo 1, which is my home box. Log back in. Pzer1 Jumpo 1 is my jump box, right? That's weird how long this is taking. This isn't good. Sending Grounds is still here. Where's he at? Yeah, I know he's around here somewhere. Uh-oh. Can't connect to my home lab. That's not good. Did that box move in some way? I don't think he's moved. We're gonna go have to see why we can't get into him. I haven't went into Jumpo 1 like this in probably years. I don't even know which server he's on. I think he's here. Pzer1 Jumpo 1. What's he doing? What are you doing that you're not listening? Server? Huh. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's he's still 245. Okay. Why is his... He doesn't have a whole lot of memory free, but it's not that big of a deal. He could just be... let's look for... Go look at fail to ban. Bang. Bang 872. And just run that real quick to see. This was to see if somebody had a banned system, but hold on real quick. And I'm going to change it to 192.168.11, which is the home lab, right? I just want to see if any of my nodes show up, like any of my local. That is a lot more than I thought. We don't want it to interpret it, so we're going to leave it like this. Yeah, that was grabbing too much. What? It's still grabbing way more than I expect. Oh, it's probably showing the whole... Alright, let's do it this way. Do an IP config. What am I? I'm 47. Yeah, I'm 47. See if this one shows up. If this one shows up, then that's... Yeah, so I'm banned. So I got to unban my IP. That's all it is. I don't know how my IP got banned, but let's stop them. What does unban them? So 648. Just rerun that, and then we're going to change that to 192.168.11.245. I don't know how I got banned, but oh, it's unban IP. That's my bad. Yeah. All right. So then now, that's dumb. Restart the session. Now this should connect. I don't know how. Maybe I did too many incorrect passwords. Oh, that was the wrong password. Hold on. My system was 47. That was my fault. One more try. There we go. This is why I do that. Good gosh. Because here, when I go home, I'm just back in the system. Here I am. You guys saw me disconnect completely from whatever terminal or whatever I was in, and it doesn't matter because it was like a pane of glass that I was like touching, and then when I disconnected my system and went anywhere else on planet Earth, I can connect right back in, get right back into the system and do whatever I want, as though it's like my workstation's all stayed open, everything's up. I haven't lost anything functionally that I was doing or tracking or whatever. I don't have to go reset my environment up. I just take this laptop, go home, connect back. That's why. I mean, that's one of the main reasons. I just don't care how I connect to a system. I mean, as long as I can get access, and as long as I can do my as long as I can get to a Linux terminal, I can do whatever I want at work. So, all right. But enough of that. So the band IP. So what happened with Jumpo 1? That's fail2ban. So I use fail2ban, and that's the server that used to connect for people to get in back in the day. We used to use fail2ban on P01 Jumpo 1. This used to be how you got in. You'd come in through the web, you'd hit P01 Jumpo 1, and then you would get access back to the labs, Rocky, Hammer, Auto. This is like what the lab network kind of looked like. You'd come in off the jump box here, but it used to be Jumpo 1, but I recently flipped it over to Jumpo 2. So there's still hundreds of thousands of band IPs in here. And then for some reason, mine happened to get in there. I don't think I tried to connect too often or anything like that. So the band hammer went wrong. So then I have to go in through the console. This is the same thing I tell people, like, it's actually a useful thing to understand. If you're ever doing work on a Linux box, you need to make sure, especially network work and especially power work, you need to make sure that you have a separate channel to get back in, a separate way to get to the console, right? It used to be that we had to go in the data center and plug in. This was the way we used to do it, right? Especially when I worked in SCIFs. That was the only way. You had to go physically to the box. Well, most work had to happen like that. But then as we've moved further and further away from the being directly at the machine, we have more and more access. But then, if something locks up like this, we need another way, what we call an out-of-band channel to control the system, right? So this is, out-of-band definitely saves jobs. Yeah, and getting the crash card's cool. Like I was telling you guys, like the NOAA project that I'm on right now, that's NOAA, yeah. It's 5 miles down the road for the Phoenix Center. So I can go to the Phoenix campus anytime I want, get in there, do data center stuff. The Manassas, Virginia one is, I don't know, 1,500 miles that way. That way? Yeah. Right? Like that's, yeah. All right, so anyways, that's my, even though it took me 10 minutes to do it, that was still better. That was still better than not being able to connect and disconnect and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, it's a lot of driving. I've only ever flown out there. I've never driven out there. That would kill me. But yeah, so the plan, if there is one, is this. The Professional Linux Users Group has, is there a late night bash study in 2 hours? Oh, geez. Yeah, I guess I'm running that one because I set that up. There's a bash study group tonight. There's writer room tomorrow. That's actually what I got to get this document finished for those guys, because they're going to start putting the automation course together for me, and I'm going to start putting in the individual blocks of assignments. And then tomorrow night we do Prolog lab maintenance. So I reboot all the machines. I kick everybody out. We look at logs. We do all kinds of stuff. We last week what we did, we went off of this. We added LSOF into the image and tested it. We fixed tempfs size for lab boxes. We can't call things done. So we have a bunch of things here that we finished, but we can't call them done until we validate them in our downtime window. So some of this, like we fixed Ansible output for the lab. We know that. Like I can go to our sandbox channel over here and I can see in the sandbox channel that we fixed this, because you say, was that fixed? Well, this is what it used to look like. It used to just go, watch this, this was busted. It was like, hey, here's all the logins to the servers. Well, do you guys really think 3,714 of you, after bypassing all those other things and getting past our being in our jail and all that stuff, logged into those servers in 24 hours? No. What was happening here was it was capturing all the logins from my Ansible checks, because my Ansible checks go every minute to make sure that everything's good. And that's fine. Those are perfectly fine numbers. The server shrugs that off. But I didn't want to report on that because that looks like shit. Like that looks like shit and it's not accurate, right? Accuracy is the worst thing, right? The format. I mean, formatting's, what I want to do when I present things like this, especially stuff that's like noise into a Teams channel or Slack channel or any of these channels that I can report into, the noise, like what I present, I want it to be like very quickly accessible. Of like in this case, these are the servers that have rebooted. Like everything else here, you would just be like, oh yeah, no, the environment's clean. I don't need to take another sip of my coffee, continue on with my day. I'm not even thinking about it. Not even thinking about it. Oh, that's within normal. But if you saw all 15 servers here, you'd be like, that's a little weird. However, if you saw all 15 servers here, which this is almost all of them, well, that was the night that we did patching maintenance, right? Wasn't that the 19th? No, that was another night. Maybe I was rebooting them. I think I rebooted all the ones that weren't. I was being cheeky. This is for our patching maintenance, the 17th. That was our first patching maintenance last week. So there you go. Alert burnout. Yeah. If a system just keeps alerting, you're gonna turn it off, and nobody's ever gonna see it again. And it's gonna be the saddest, nicest alert window you ever had. And then last week we also did in the Kanban board. We backed up the NFS location. So I wrote a little set of silly little backups. These are like the simplest little backups ever. But what we're going to do this weekend is we're going to implement. Colchis wrote this in the Bash and System Tricks channel. I said, does anybody want to try to write a backup that they think would be good? And this is what he did. However, I think he updated it in his GitHub. So we'll pull his GitHub. We'll actually pull it down. We'll point to the location that we download it to, right? And then we'll use that as our script. And then in our Kanban board here, we'll say that we fixed that. We'll post that link. There's some stuff in here. We can edit the task. Say it's done. And then we'll move that over to done. Node exporter config in the labs. We did all that. We know that node exporter is working because one, we can see it here. But there was a problem. There was a problem with the node exporter that I couldn't fix because it was the end. This was after. And it was that we had to ensure port 9100 is allowed through the firewall in the image, so it's scrapable by Prometheus. So we turned on node exporter, but we didn't fix the firewall. The firewall's on, but we have to allow 9100 through. So what we did in the meanwhile was we just turned the firewall off, but that's not a great solution. Look, guys, if the answer in labs is always just turn the firewall off, we're never going to learn the real way to do things in what we call like a zero trust and then like a honestly just a better security posture than just leaving everything open. So then we did that, and now our Auto 1, Auto 4, Hammer, all of these servers are in here, and we can see them now in our little, that's what we call a HUD, right? A heads-up display. Just a quick little view of our environment. Make sure our environment's clean. Make sure nothing's red, right? Nothing's going on in the environment. But this is our actual lab. This is our actual monitoring. Here's our uptime. We know when the servers last rebooted. We can see things about individual nodes if we want to. We can even drill down in on individual nodes by instance IPs and those kind of things. And we set those up in our Prometheus server. Easier to see from here. Here. And it's not the nicest looking way to do it, but we did it. Oh, we did it all in the same one. Yeah. So where is he? I don't see. I think it was here. Yeah. So here's the configuration of, and instead of just doing like job node team lab, and then we added purpose. Purpose hasn't ever been in there before in any of our configs, but we do have it over here now. So we can use purpose as we can look at just the admin ones and just the security ones and just the auto ones. And maybe on one of these future patching windows, we'll build a dashboard that just lets us flip between the purpose and only show this for the purpose. If we just want to see the admin ones and just the whatever, we can do that, right? This is one of these things where it's like, I tell you guys all the time, like everything we do in the systems world that looks complex is chutes and ladders. Something goes to something, points to something, goes somewhere else to something. It's all chutes and ladders. It's all, And when you get those things linked up correctly, almost like irrigation, like I grew up near irrigation in Glendale, Arizona, and as long as the irrigation's flowing and you turn the water on, things will go the way they need to go. And that's how I think about almost all this stuff. So we just had to turn it on and see it go into the Prometheus server. So Prometheus is a time series database that sits there and just scrapes the crap out of everything. Just scrapes the environment all it can. In fact, this is kind of what the view looks like of the home lab. For you guys that haven't been, oh, that's bright, sorry. That is not the way that we want to present it. This is what our home lab looks like. Some of you guys have literally been seeing me pull this exact diagram up for years. It's the exact diagram. This is how my home lab works right here. It's how all of our monitoring works. Everything is either node exporter through Prometheus to Grafana or Promtail. And now in our new labs, we need to update Promtail agent, and Promtail is going to become Alloy. They don't really support Promtail anymore going forward, so we're going to change that over to Alloy, to Loki, to Grafana. Loki's an awesome little endpoint, but one of these days, we're also going to make the certificate version of communication so that we have zero trust going, right? And then Telegraph is another way to do it, and then that goes to InfluxDB2, which is Flux queries instead of the older queries that looked more like SQL, and then Grafana as well. So all of these things, very attainable for people that want to build them, and then you just want to get to being able to monitor your lab like this. It's not super hard to do. In fact, you guys that were watching last Sunday, I did this in under an hour, right? And by the way, this is like a stolen dashboard. Like, this dashboard's on the web. You just go to grafana.com dashboards, and they'll give you dashboards. There's thousands of them, tens of thousands even. Yeah, so all that stuff. All right. What else do we got? Still a fan of SQL style log queries. Yeah, I mean, if it works, what's funny sending is my brother Tommy, who does data analytics, and some of you guys have heard him talk. He went through DeVry, where I teach, and he came through there, and he had a couple classes with me, which is kind of funny. Like, I'm one of the few people out there that can say that I taught my brother in a college course. I bet there's less than 100 of us on planet Earth that taught his brother in a college class. And anyways, my brother Tommy, he did this whole degree, and he was working at he works at the same insurance company he's always worked at, but he tried to get over, like, after he got this bachelor's, he tried for like 3 years to get over, and every single job, even though he was like in a management role, and even though he was like putting together all this tracking of things and all this stuff that people were using, they kept saying in every single one, they're like, we don't see that you have a deep amount of like SQL experience. We really want SQL. And then they would hire some fucking turd. They just hired some turd that had 6 years or said that they knew a bunch of SQL. The guy would never be able to do anything. And then they'd end up letting him go. And then I remember one time he didn't get picked for a role. They picked some dude's dad. This is actually a funny story. You should ask him about it if you guys ever talked to him. They hired like this dude's dad instead of my brother. And he's like, okay. And then the manager didn't even want to come back. Like, the manager of that team was getting asked all these questions. And my brother Tommy was like managing. He was manager at the time. He was doing all this stuff with his Excel spreadsheets, and he was tracking all these call volumes and all this stuff. And he wanted to come back and use that, but he didn't want to ask Tom directly. So he asked his manager to get him to do it for him. His manager's like, fuck you, go ask him yourself. And my brother told him the same thing. He's like, I ain't helping you. He's like, you can get it from the executive report like everybody else does. He's like, I'm not going to let your team do that. And it was kind of funny. And then he ended up, those guys asked him like a few years later, and this was recently, they asked him to come over to their team, but he went over to another team. So he's been doing data analytics for I think like 4 years now, 3 or 4 years, somewhere in there. But it was funny that like SQL was the sticking point for a long time, even though he was doing all this other stuff. And guys, you can put together the best dashboard. You can pull in all the data pipelines you want. The execs are still going to ask for it in an Excel format. You do whatever you want. You can make the prettiest dashboards. You can do all this stuff. They're going to be like, can I get a button that just pulls that down into Excel? That's what every single one of them is going to ask you. So what Tommy does now is he just makes that form up front. He's like, all right, here's their fucking. It's like they want the spoon and to be spoon fed, but they also want you to fly it like this, like a little airplane into their mouth. Yeah, if people think that like deep analytics are happening all the way up at like the C levels of companies, they are very much incorrect. Those people are still mostly just looking at charts and pivot tables in Excel. That Excel runs the world. People don't probably know that, but it absolutely does. Excel spreadsheets absolutely run the world. So, all right, what are we doing here? We're almost at 2 hours. I just want to play that video game, but nobody's watching when I'm playing the video game. So, guys, I gave this talk earlier. Some of you guys came, how Werewolf fits into high performance and supercomputing environments. I'm not going to give this talk again right now, but I will give this talk again soon, and we will take all of my silly little AI art generated things, and we will talk through this again, and we will go over Werewolf, and I'll show you guys how to build them, because I think, man, I love Mechabellum, John Jones. But no, have you seen no, the new one I've been playing is called Nidica, which is pretty all right. There are open source alternatives to Excel. Yeah, I mean, Open Libre, sure. But I'm saying, like, companies are going to just pay for, oh man, companies will do whatever they can to just pay for as much, like, Office products as they can. Camrick said, are the class courses free, or is there site? No, everything's free with us. The only thing that people can pay for is I've got a book, but they've got to go find that to buy that. I don't like put that up all the time, although it was coming up in the thing earlier. No, the courses are free in our Discord, and there's a little section called Beginner Start here, and there are all of the playlists for the sysadmin course, which is a 16-week course, and the security engineering course, that's a 10-week course, and then the books that the guys put together. Look, guys, I didn't write the book. I mean, let's say that I authored the books, but the guys wrote the books and turned them into these really awesome, I mean, these books are great. They have all the stuff you need to do the course by yourself if you wanted to. You don't have to use our labs. You can do either Killer Coda labs, or you can do your own lab instance if you wanted to, and you'd probably be able to get away with most all this stuff. So, yeah, this stuff is all free. The guys put that together. The other course, the security course, this one's also free. And I think this course turned out really well. I really liked the way that the security engineering course went, dealing with the different areas of kind of like blue team, like protection side of things. Because as Linux engineers, we're always expected to know everything and know all the standards and know how things can interact with our systems and stuff. So this just kind of bolsters that and kind of, I think, bridges that gap for people that maybe didn't catch that. I mean, I learned all my Linux in the wild, guys, right? I had like one class in college in like 2004 on it. And I didn't learn anything else except what I learned on my own. So yeah. So all this stuff is free for you guys. The automation course that's coming up, that's free, and that is let me show you guys. That is starting. Our tentative start for that is in September 20th, and then it'll be in your time if you look at it on Discord. Also, the security engineering course round 2, we're going to do round 2 of that. Will also be September 20th. We're going to start that. So people that are interested in coming in and doing that, there's one catch. Can I tell you guys the one thing that really gets people is you have to do discussions each week. And people don't like that. College students don't like that, if we're being honest. But you got to do them. It's like taking your medicine. It's like going and lifting weights at the gym. You got to do it. You can't stay. You know, we gotta treat yourself. You gotta. That's not a correct application of that phrase, by the way. But you gotta work your mind if you wanna be sharp. And I tell you guys, it's not just throwing shit into Chat GPT either. Guys, do you guys know that I could take a forklift to a gym and I can lift 5,000 pounds and then look around and like flex and act like I'm the smartest dude around and strongest dude around? But I didn't lift shit. The forklift did it, right? It's the same thing with this, man. Like, you can pump stuff out, but you don't like ever build those channels in your mind to be able to do the stuff on your own. So then when push comes to shove and you get that call in the middle of the night and you can't use your tools and you don't know what's going on, and it's just you gotta it's this idea that you got to stay ready, right? You got to get ready and stay ready and all that stuff. Yeah, it says you're boring. Linux engineers do everything. Just ask one. Yeah, I just kicked somebody out here earlier that was coming at me sideways for bullshit, right? So like, yeah, I think in general, a lot of people think they know everything, but I'm trying to show people how to do this stuff professionally, right? I don't always care. I mean, we're all hobbyists. We all do it for fun, but I'm trying to show people how to do it in a professional capacity, right? So, yeah. All right. let's call this here. We're at about an hour and 51 minutes. I know I messed around a lot, but guys, there's a lot of stuff going on. It looks like, yeah, and I better set timer in an hour 30. I'm running that group. Oh, I forgot that I was even running that. So I'm gonna have to hand that off to somebody soon. I just wanted to start it so people that are on the other side of the world would have time to come and hang out. The guys that can't make it to the 10 a.m. So, all right. But we'll drop this here. I appreciate everybody coming by. I will see some of you guys tomorrow. Normally Sunday mornings I do all labs, and I want to get back to doing that because I do really think that people need to get their hands on Linux, right? And I have been forcing people to do just straight Linux with me for a while, but just doing Linux and understanding it is very powerful. So, all right, I will see some of you guys later. Take care.